Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro Television. Today is the 30th day of June 2022 and we've got stories coming up in the next 1 hour. Let's take a look at our headlines this afternoon. Coming up, lawyers for persons accused of perpetrating violence on day one of the Arise Ghana demonstration denied access to their clients almost 48 hours after they were picked up. We'll bring you details on that particular story. And the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to announce new water and electricity tariffs on July 15. We will tell you more this afternoon. And on the foreign front, Sudan's military cuts off internet ahead of nationwide protest for press for civilian rule. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're streaming live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. Now let's settle for the details and begin with the Arise Ghana demonstration. Lawyers for some of the protesters who are being held in detention for allegedly perpetrating violence during the demonstration on Tuesday say they are being denied access to their clients based on what they allege is an order from above. The lawyers fear their clients would be detained beyond 48 hours since the court will not sit on Thursday due to the Matters Day celebrations. They want the IGP to immediately order his men to allow persons in custody to have access to their lawyers. Police, in a statement, said it had arrested 29 persons who were engaged in violence during the Arise Ghana demonstration. And joining us on phone is Eduji Tamaklo, counsel for the accused persons. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. Hello, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Great. Can you tell us why your clients are being held, if you have any idea of that?
Okay, so as you are aware, they were arrested at the demonstration grounds, first brought to the police headquarters. They were subsequently distributed to the various police cells within Accra. So 10 of them were kept at the Tesano police station. No, in fact, 10 were at the Nima police station, 7 at the Tesano police station, another 5 at La, and then the Osu. So these were the places where they distributed them. And we asked them why. They claim that the head office does not have a holding cell. And so they had no option than to keep the suspects. They are not accused persons yet, the suspects in the various cells as I've indicated. Now, what happened was that there was one who wasn't feeling too well, and so the police, based on instructions from above, granted him what you call police inquiry bail. Now, this morning, we'll be making attempts as to know whether there will be court proceedings or in view of the 48-hour rule, the police will be minded to grant them police inquiry bail so that we can come back later and do what is needful.
Okay. I want to understand when you made an attempt to see your clients and what exactly did they tell you as to why you could not see them? Hello, Lawyer Eduji. Hello, sir. Hello, Lawyer Eduji Tamaklo. Okay, so we're trying to get back at Lawyer Eduji Tamaklo back on the line as we discuss this particular issue with respect to the Arise Ghana demonstration. And he was saying that some of them are in different cells in the capital, and we understand that they have not been able to see their clients, and so we want some clarification from him. We'll get him back on the line. Hello, lawyer. Thank you for joining us back on. I'm asking that when did you attempt to meet your clients, and what reason were given to you that you will not be able to see them?
Yesterday, we made an attempt to meet our clients because as at the night of the demonstration, their statements were not taken. So we made some inquiry. Initially, we were not allowed entry into the police headquarters, but subsequently were informed that the suspects are not in the police headquarters, but they have been distributed to the various police stations. 10 of them at Tesano, 7 at the Nima police station, another 5 at La, and then some at Osu. But there was an incident where one of them was not well, and so he was kind of granted police inquiry bail. This morning, we've been trying to negotiate with the police the possibility of getting all of them police inquiry bail in view of the 48-hour rule. And also knowing that today being the Martyrs' Day, the judges are at the church event to mark the 40th anniversary. And so that has been the where we've gotten to. We don't know whether they may get a judge who will sit today at the circuit court to consider a possible bail application, or the police themselves would want to give them police inquiry bail. So we are in that negotiation with them, sir.
Okay. So we know that the courts will not sit today. Does that mean that they will be held beyond the constitutionally approved 48 hours? And what would be your next move with respect to that?
That's one of the reasons that we are canvassing in order to get them police inquiry bail. It is one of them. And like I told you, the police themselves have granted one of them on grounds of he not being well, and 3 sureties were provided. And so we are making the point that if one can be granted a bail on the basis of ill health and given the 3 sureties, same should apply to the others, so that we can have the sureties come in, and if they are needed for further investigation, we can make them available for it. This is the point that this is not like persons who have engaged in high crime. These are persons who, in some cases, were just bystanders that were arrested in the process of the melee. So basically, that's what we've got into say.
Okay. Thank you very much, lawyer Edugye Tamaklo, for talking to us this afternoon. News BT is counsel for some of the protesters who were arrested during the Arise Ghana demonstration. Still on that, the service has commended the Arise Ghana demonstrators and its officers for what it terms as the incident-free protest on day 2. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the police commended the demonstrators for their comportment as well as its officers for being professional. Here are excerpts of the statement, and it says that the police wish to register their satisfaction with the successful outcome of day 2 of the Arise Ghana protest, and the police provided the security and with support from the public and demonstrators. Day 2 of the protest march was incident-free. I added that we are grateful to the general public about their cooperation and understanding in spite of the inconvenience the demonstration undoubtedly caused them. It continues that whilst we continue to register our disappointment at the righteous conduct of the demonstrators on the first day, we commend them for their comportment today, which we hope will provide lessons for future occasions to help deepen our democratic practices as a country. We would also like to commend personnel of the service for their professionalism exhibited throughout the 2 days, especially on the first day in the face of unprovoked attacks by the demonstrators. We take this opportunity to wish all injured police officers a speedy recovery. Meanwhile, we wish to reiterate our commitment to the rule of law in this country and bring all those who breached the law during the demonstration to face the law. And Grace and Sacrifice, Chief Superintendent of Police, Director Public Affairs there. Now, still on that, NDC's National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, says the police is allowing itself to be used as a tool against the rights of the people. He said the Inspector General of Police, George Akufu-Dampare, is putting a dent on his reputation.
And Abena Osei Asari to address.
In front of Jubilee House, there was no violence. There was no destruction of property. Everything was peaceful. And we told them that we told you that we are peaceful citizens, law-abiding citizens. If you had not allowed NPP politicians to control you and to dictate to you what to do, if you had not destroyed the good faith we started with, if you had been professional, if you had been honest, if you had been loyal to the state rather than loyal to a political party and politicians, you would have avoided these unfortunate clashes. The IGP should have a self-introspection of the way he's going. He is not doing his reputation any good. How can officers of the court, bailiffs of the high courts, go to the police headquarters, and your Quanchen police station, police headquarters, to serve a process on the police? A process that has a cover letter of the registrar of the High Court. And the police tell the bailiff that we are under orders from above not to accept any process from any court.
That's what the bailiff told you?
Yes. Are the police above the law? Are they above the courts?
A former member of Parliament of Okaikwe North, Fuseni Issa, says the police service has an obligation to protect the sanctity of the country. Hence, any action the police institution deems fit will be taken.
When you have been engaging the police for weeks and days, and finally the police goes to court, and the court gives an order, and you decide that you are going to undertake the action contrary to what the court has decided, then there's a problem. The police is an intelligence gathering force as well. And an intelligence gathering, it's an evolving thing. Who knows? The police might have agreed to something today. Tomorrow, they have some intelligence and decide that no, this is putting our security at risk or putting other people at risk. So we have to adjust to this. And that one we should be able to adjust to.
So let's stay on the demonstration by Arise Ghana some more, and we joined the studio by Janet Nabla of the PNC. And well, they're saying that they believe that demonstrations like this are outmoded, and then well, they are distancing themselves from the Arise Ghana demonstration. And according to a statement signed by the party's General Secretary Janet Nabla, street protest as a form of demonstration is becoming outmoded in modern democracies, and protesting without providing solution is equally outmoded. The party is rather urging Ghanaians to prefer alternative policies that will help the current government to tackle the current economic challenges. It proposes a critique of government's policies through institutional lectures, peaceful submitting petitions, and the use of the court to push through their demands. And Janet Nabla is the General Secretary of the PNC, and she joins me here in studio. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I mean, I want to understand from what angle are you distancing yourself from the demonstration?
Let me greet you and your viewers this afternoon.
We are distancing ourselves because most demonstrations have not been able to achieve any results. And we've seen that these demonstrations are usually organized just to empower those people who are at the forefront. They get media recognition. At the end of the day, the ordinary Ghanaian still remains the same. For instance, the Yentuya demonstration, when the MPP came up with the e-levy, Ghanaians, PNC said it was a good initiative because to help in our road transportation, help in giving people who want to start up businesses some capital, construction, and then our transportation system was something that was welcoming. But then 1.75% was too high for the ordinary Ghanaian to pay. So PNC came up that they should reduce it to 0.75. We were expecting our brothers and sisters from the other political party who were also in opposition to realize that this was a good initiative, but the rate was too high for Ghanaians. But they went on a demonstration called Yentuya demonstration, only to come back, and now we are paying 1.5. They could have used their majority in parliament to do something for the people of Ghana. Now they are going around doing a demonstration talking about this in forestry. They are talking about the forest reserves. When you look at the history, they took 148 hectares. So if you are asking that you want to reserve our forestry and other things, what about the 148 hectares your government also took? Are you now going on a demonstration against your own selves? And then they are it's saying that they want the e-levy out. You want the e-levy out. The e-levy is here as is cushioning the government. So you pick the e-levy out. What are you bringing? Bring an alternative. You say that the fuel prices in the market very high. We all agree, PNC, we agree. You said they should reduce it. Government is not in control of petroleum. It is being manipulated by the market forces. Now you are asking government to reduce the rate. If you reduce the rate, the revenue that is lost in there, what is there to replace it? Workers have not yet been paid. We are all in this country, and as citizens and as political parties, we are there to make sure that this country becomes better off. We know that government is trying to push, but as a result of coronavirus and Russia-Ukraine war, anyone saying it doesn't have an impact is telling us that we are not part of the global positioning system, because we are all living in a global village, and they are saying that growth have reduced. That was from 2021 to 2022, 5.7% to 2.9%. And we are all in this world. So why will you say that Ghana is not being affected? We know we are being affected. And they have members of parliament who are there, and they are members of the economic committee. They know the problems that Ghana is facing. Yet they are thinking that this is politics, to go around pushing. Government do this, government do this, without thinking of alternatives to be able to help government to come out of this situation. If you talk, they will tell you that, oh, but the MPP were those who were voted into power. Are you being patriotic saying those things? Are you being patriotic?
But all of these things that you have mentioned culminates the economic hardship that we are facing. Are you not feeling that?
I'm feeling that. If I'm feeling that, and I know that if you know that your daddy has no money, you know, it's not like you don't do, you are aware. And you come out to tell, and then every day he has to provide money for your mother to give food, to prepare food. And you tell your daddy that, this money that you are dissing is too much. Please cut down on this one. Don't do this. Knowing very well that by cutting it down, you are not going to get food to eat. And yet you are saying that, why don't you bring out policies that can be able to help? The fact that you are in opposition and you want to come into governance, it means you are having something. You have an idea to be able to salvage Ghanaians from this situation. Why are you waiting for them to vote for you before you do it? Look at the PNC, for instance. You are enjoying national health insurance. Are we in power? In 1996 to 2000, the PNC was the one advocating for national health insurance. Dr. Edward Nasigre Mahama saw that he was at Kolebu, and one night, 6 people died because they could not do cash and carry. And he said, what am I here doing? I'm here to save lives, and the lives are dying in my hands. He left the hospital, and now he decided to go into politics. because he knew that that was the only place his voice could be heard. And when he came with the national health insurance, providing national health insurance for the people of Ghana, although we did not win, Ghanaians are now benefiting from it. If there is school feeding in Ghana today, it is a PNC brainchild.
Okay. Sorry to cut in. You're making reference to one person or talking about the elites, the leaders. What about the people on the ground, the ordinary Ghanaians? They're feeling the heat and they want to let the government know that we are feeling the heat. Isn't this just the right way?
We are sympathizing. I'm a woman. I go to the market and I've seen how prices of goods and services in the market have tripled. Yesterday, I saw that NAT was saying that government should increase their salaries by 20%. And I said, no, I don't think 20% for Kola Note will even be enough in this present situation. But is government having the money? No. What do we do to be able to get money? PNC is coming up with policies. We said, look at property tax. Government must focus on something that can be able to generate income instead of burdening the ordinary Ghanaian. So we are saying that he should focus his attention on property tax. It has a way of providing revenue for the country. Look at the big buildings we have, and yet they are not paying any taxes. And we are on the ordinary Ghanaian trying to take 1 or 2 cities, which is not helping. So government must redirect its focus. We are also talking about what is it called? We are coming up with so many things.
So that is why the ordinary Ghanaian went on the streets to let the government know that we are feeling the heat.
You are feeling the heat. You're feeling the heat. It's telling government that you are feeling the heat. Children does that. A child tells the father that, please, I need this, and will not tell the father where, or ask the father where to get the money to buy the thing for. Are you telling me that Arise Ghana is like children? You want to become, NDC was part of them. This is a political party that is looking for power to govern this country. And then it turns into a child to say that the heat is too much. We are feeling the heat. You are feeling the heat. You want to come in to do what? Tell us what you can do now. When you salvage Ghana through your policies and initiatives you have used to help the government, then we know that you can really take care of this country. But you are not giving alternatives. And you are saying that we are feeling the heat. You just want people to see that you are dissing. I'm saying that it is time for us to move away from this inferior communist tactics of politics to do the real thing. We are not saying that what they were doing is not decent. But what we are telling them is that it's outmoded. Come up with policies. When I come out to tell you that, bring me food, bring me water, I will tell you that when you do this and this, because you are in power, when you do this and this, you can be able to bring it out.
You've mentioned modern ways. As you say, those are outmoded ways of registering your displeasure. You say that institutional lectures. How many lectures has the PNC held?
The PNC have always been writing proposals concerning things. For instance, now we are having an agenda we are pushing that government should give allowances to single mothers. We've written a proposal and we are sending it to Parliament. This is something that we think will be able to help. Ghanaian women are suffering. That somebody have impregnated you, refuse to take care of the child, and the woman have to suffer to take care of the child. When the child grows up, the child and then becomes a minister, he is going to be corrupt. Because when I was suffering with my mother, the government did not come in. No one came into our refuge. It's survival of the fittest. Okay. Let me amass wealth so that my children will not face what I'm facing. But when the government comes in and then the person becomes a minister, he realized that generational transfer hypothesis, somebody helped me, so let me also do something for somebody. So we are saying that government must come in. This is a pro-poor initiative that PNC is bringing on board. And so come up with initiatives and stop all this.
Your former chairman was part of the leading members of the demonstration. What do you make of that?
He has legal rights to demonstrate. Now he is not holding any position in PNC. He was there. I never heard people say PNC is part. No, because he's a former. That is why he's a former and we are now there. So he has his legal right to join any pressure group that he wants to join. He is not fighting for PNC. He's fighting for himself as an individual. And it's democratically okay for him to do that. So I don't have any qualms about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Janet, for joining us this afternoon. Janet Nabla is the General Secretary of the PNC. And former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe is addressing a lecture on Ghana's economy. Let's cross over there now.
The first app is showing cash in, cash out, and it's showing a deficit. You have to add arrears, which will increase it. Okay, so if the arrears is understated or bailout is left out, this is where the exceptional cost is shown. It will give the impression that you are doing well. But eventually you have to pay for those arrears. And the debt will expose you. You know, and so, so it's when the combination of these two gives you the fiscal balance. That's a real deficit, which you must borrow to finance. That's where borrowing. So in actual fact, technically, your fiscal balance should be equal to the borrowing that Parliament approves for you in the appropriation. It shouldn't be any different. So if you left out an item at the top, it means that what Parliament is approving is lower. And that is how, let us see His Excellency when he said in London, you know, off-budget items. So that's what it means. Because then you are spending outside the budget that, you know, Parliament approved. And it is the difference between the borrowing you are doing for this year minus the debt that you paid, which leads to whether you are increasing your debt stock, you know, or not. So ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is, if you want to tackle your debt, you don't keep focusing on the fourth, you know, quadrant only. You have to also look at, this is why when you do a program, or when you do the homegrown program, you have to look at your revenue. That's why we launch a lot of revenue initiatives. You know, let me mention them just so I don't repeat them. You remember we created GRA, we merged VAT service, you know, and IRS, because it's the same invoice that they are using to make, you know, tax administration more efficient on the revenue side. Remember West Blue, you know, or single window, which today we call what, ICOMs, right, were launched. What was not done is the domestic equivalent of the automation, which we were going to work with the World Bank, you know, to finance. You remember we also did expenditure reforms, the gift miss, you know, one night, you know, we just said everybody go on the web, electronic. Digitalization, that's what it meant. So we stopped the paper warrants, those of you who are public servants, and you have to do everything electronic. That way, we can put a cap on the ceiling which Parliament approved for you. And if you exceed it, right, then Parliament did not approve. You are spending outside the budget. And that's how fiscal discipline or budget discipline begins. So all of a sudden, we saw most of our ministers, you know, beginning to log on for the first time, observing what their subordinates are doing. Otherwise, you don't have a budget. You are allowing somebody to be spending for you. You are allowing a public servant to be spending for you and awarding contracts and things. The contract database was therefore to take this into the medium term. You know, we have the medium term expenditure framework so that we can control, as I said, contracts and things better. And these were the things that helped us. Now, when we left office, look at the yellow. This compilation that we were doing was taken and trumpeted as we live in significant arrears. It has never been part of the budget. We were introducing an initiative to move the country. But then once it was said that we had left the 7 billion, which increased our expenditure to 51, all of a sudden financial engineering began, and then the 7 billion was reduced in the same 2016 by 5 billion. So what was carried forward, you know, was what? Only 2 billion. So if truly what was carried forward was 2 billion and not 5 billion in 2016, who achieved that? Who achieved that? Is it President Mahama or the incoming president? Right? So the adjustment itself speaks for itself. And ladies and gentlemen, if I go quickly, it shows that, you know, okay, I think that's not showing. So this is where the basis on which we are saying the deficit we left was 6.1. And it's in the 2017 budget. Go to the appendix. You know, and so this is what our parliamentarians fought for 3 years and was corrected, only going into the elections. So please don't get the impression that we left. And these are all due to measures, sacrifices. Of course, we could also have put a lot. I always say that going to the elections, you knew crude oil prices fell. We had the tariff bearing and all those things. And we reduced the number of e-schools, even in the heat of free SHS, because we didn't want the overruns that are taking place today, right? So we reduced the e-schools and everything. It involved a lot of sacrifice, but that means the medium term. right? And we wanted to prove to the fund that we can take these measures on our own, which is why the fund program was, remember we started with the homegrown. So we were bent on we ourselves returning to the homegrown by proving that we have measures, we know the measures, which would make us self-sufficient like Kenya. We could go into a PSI, where, yes, under Article 4, the fund will come and look at your books anyway, whether you like it or not, whether you're in the program or not, whether you exit or not. That is what Article 4 means, right? So you go in agreement with them, yes, come and examine my books, but I'm in charge of the policies. And in fact, most of the homegrown policies that we had was what was used to negotiate, the IMF ECF program. Please, you can download it and see, and you see that it's there. And when you download it, please, you won't see that we agreed with the fund not to employ public servants, and the reason for NAPCO is not there. Again, it's one of the fallacies that were created.
And that was former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe speaking there. Now, news coming in is that arrested Arise Ghana protesters have been granted police inquiry bail, and the leadership of Arise Ghana and their lawyers are in the process of finalizing the bail processes. And that was the news that just came in from the handle of Sami Jemfi. We're taking a break now, and you're still watching Newsbeat. We'll be back shortly. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now let's do some other stories. And the Ghana National Association of Teachers says it stands by the June 30 deadline for the payment of the conditions of cost of living allowance COLA. Teachers are demanding that the government pays them 20% cost of living allowance by the end of June 2022 or risk having them go on strike.
The association has given a June-ending ultimatum on the back of the current economic conditions and worsening plight of teachers, as well as the government's failure to negotiate. Speaking on the demand at the opening of an investment forum by NAT, the national president of the association, Reverend Isaac Owusu, said the payment of the allowance is necessary.
We were almost chased out of the program because our members felt that we are not doing enough for them as union leaders. They were telling us that Kruma Eshe, Baby, we are still standing by our demand, and the deadline that we have given, June ending, today is 29th. So, Mr. Minister, this morning we are assuring you that we cannot fail our members. And we want to assure our members through this medium that as leaders of NAT, we are still standing by the deadline that we have given to the employer.
Responding to the demand, the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rekubrobe, who was at the function, said government is considering their demand and will address them soon.
I was telling him that I'm still waiting for them to give me a signal, and then we meet where all the stakeholders will be brought on board and the outcomes of that meeting laid bare to you. So let's keep our fingers crossed. The fact that Ewiemayashi is trite knowledge, even me, I'm feeling it. All government employees have had their 30% of salaries cut. This is a reality. So while I sympathize with the situation, our largest workforce, public sector, we have in Ghana is teachers.
According to the association, the current delay continues to affect the meager earnings of workers and basic necessities of life.
And we are working the lines to reach the leadership of the teacher unions in the country. And as and when we get them, we'll bring you details on that. Now let's do some other stories. And the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, has paid a working visit to Apiate to, among other things, officially hand over the temporary structures to the people of Apiate. make some donations and also inspect the land layouts done by the reconstruction team ahead of the actual reconstruction works, which has been scheduled to begin on the 15th of July.
I came here to satisfy myself the conditions under which the victims of the tragic Apieti disaster are living in, and the conditions, as I've seen, are reasonably satisfactory and far, far better than the vulnerable state in which they found themselves in these tents. And as you can see, we have symbolically dismantled one of the tents, which begins the dismantling of all the tents here. And of course, we've been able to provide them with temporary structures which are reasonably fit for purpose. And I've spoken to some of the victims and the occupants of these structures, and they seem to be quite happy. The matter that I sought to debunk is the usual political propaganda for cheap parochial political interest, and which is that the funds which have been contributed or raised for the construction of the community is being used for the construction of the National Cathedral. It's completely outrageous for anybody to suggest that, and that is palpably untrue. All the expenses and management of the fund under the leadership of Madame Joyce Ayi, a woman of enormous integrity, is being done very transparently and above board. And when all is said and done, the Ghanaian people and the people of Apieti will come to the firm conclusion that every penny is being spent and spent properly and transparently with integrity. And of course, let me conclude by continuously calling on Ghanaians and well-wishers to contribute to the fund, because what we require to rebuild the community, we've still not been able to raise the requisite funds which will be needed to rebuild the community. So we call on Ghanaians, including yourself, you know.
So we are rest assured the monies are safe?
They are safe, of course.
From Apiati, a member of the Ghana Journalists Association, GJ, has filed an application for an injunction to prevent the newly elected GJ President Albert Jumfo from being sworn in. Now, Justice Lee Adobo argues that the bribery allegation leveled against the newly elected president should have been investigated before the elections were held. And he joins us on the phone now. And news coming in also is that the president, Albert Jumfo, has been sworn in despite the suit by Justice Lee Adobo. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Have you heard of the news that the president has been sworn in?
You are telling me.
Okay. So what do you make of this?
So it's a clear case of contempt, and it is worrying because as a journalist association, you know, fourth estate of the realm, so-called, that holds leadership accountable, then we should be seen to be people who are law-abiding, not people who act with impunity, people who flout orders of the court, you know, with impunity. No, we should show very good examples, because when we go out there and hold, you know, try to hold people accountable, our character will be pointed at us that this is what you people represent. And so we will lose our moral, you know, standing in society. And so this is my impression about what is said to have been going on this morning.
This particular suit that you filed, do you have any evidence of any, anything like that when it comes to the bribery allegations that you're saying should have been investigated? Do you have anything like that?
Okay, so I do not need any new evidence besides the evidence that was presented by the petitioner to the Elections Committee of the GJA. So the GJA should have gone ahead to investigate those allegations, and then, based on the evidence presented by the petitioner, make a determination of the case. This is just very simple. And the GJA's own constitution states clearly what should be done in any such situation. If the fellow is found culpable, then the fellow should be debarred from standing for the office of president. And that is what the GJA should have done, and they didn't do it. And that is why we are calling for, the court, we are calling on the court to annul the election because the GJA flouted its own constitution, to annul the election and then cause investigations to be conducted into the allegation. Then we will all know where we stand as an association.
Okay, thank you very much, Justice Lee Adobo, for speaking to us here on Newsbeat. And so that's the news coming in that the President-elect, Albert Ejumfo, has actually been sworn in despite the suit filed by Justice Lee Adobo. You're still watching Newsbeat here, and my colleague Winston Taki is standing by, bringing to you business news. Hello, Winston.
Hello, Desmond. All right, it's time to bring you business right after this. And now to our first business story. The Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, in a press release, has deferred the announcement of the 2022-2027 multi-year major tariffs from July 1st to July 15th, 2022. According to the Commission, issues such as broadening of the tariff consultation process, independent verification of submitted projects, and deeper consultation with key stakeholders have necessitated the need for immediate deferment. PURC is also indicated that they intend to incorporate the findings of the regulatory audit and the views of all stakeholders across the country. The Commission added that they remain resolute in ensuring a transparent, fair, and an all-inclusive process in determining the multi-year tariff. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has proposed a 148% increase in electricity tariff to cover the period 2019 and 2022. A proposal from the power distributor was submitted to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. There is more in the following report.
A proposal from the power distributor submitted to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission wants the adjustments to cover the period 2019 and 2022. The Electricity Company of Ghana has subsequently proposed an average increase of 7.6% in tariff over the next 4 years to cover distribution service charges. If government fails to subsidize electricity tariff, consumers could pay an astronomical increment in light bills from August 2022 as the Electricity Company of Ghana demands a 148% increase in tariff. The Electricity Company of Ghana attributed the high increase in the distribution service charges to the gap that has developed over the years between the actual cost recovery tariff and the PURC approved tariffs, as well as the cost of completed project. It also mentioned the continual application of the prevailing tariff beyond the stipulated regulatory period is as a result of the effect of macroeconomic factors such as inflation and exchange rate fluctuation. The power distributor again pointed out that its financial sustainability is important as its impact on the entire energy sector. Per ECG's proposal, the financial sustainability of the company is important and impact on the entire energy sector.
Now let's bring you the prices that you'll be paying should the proposal be accepted by the PURC. So on your screens as of now, so the old tariff was 50 Ghana cedis. With the addition of the proposed 148%, you're likely to be paying 124 cedis in terms of electricity. So next time you buy 100 cedi power, expect to be buying it for 248 Ghana cedis. The same 148% applies to all the prices you'll be paying. So if you're buying power for 200 cedis, you should now be recalculating or budgeting a total amount of 496 Ghana cedis. If you have 300, you'll be buying for 744 Ghana cedis henceforth. The PURC will finally accept as the final decision. Now that'll be it for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. We take a break, we'll be back with sports. Stay tuned. It's 50 past midday in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, and it's time for sports. The leadership of the Ghana Football Association has appointed ex-Ghanaian international Ibrahim Tanko as the new head coach of the national under-23 team known as the Black Meteors. Hasselhoff defender Samuel Nkum believes that Tanko will do a good job.
I think he's a good man. He has played the game before. He understands the game very well. I will not be surprised because he can do it. So, and I know his mentality, and he will give what Ghana we need. So everybody, I know when it happens like that, everybody will say one or two things, but at the moment, we all have to support everybody that they will put on board so that the person can also achieve something for us. So I think that he's a great guy and he can do it.
That's your sports. My name is Phil Jonkwote Nanaya, smiling and ready for showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment is next. My name is Anayata Nobwachi. Now, Ghanaian reggae and dancehall artists episode has stated that although Ghanaian artists want to expand their music reach to countries, especially Nigeria, sounding like them is not the way to go. According to the Avatar hitmaker, Ghanaian artists need to stay original. He was speaking on an entertainment review show yesterday.
That's business-wise, that's all right. But then again, are we staying original? That's the question.
What is originality to you?
To me, I want to sound like episode. I don't want somebody to listen to my record and go like, they sound like some Nigerian or but it be episode. You get what I mean? If it happens like that, Nigerians always get to take the credit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not to say that it's not good. That's why I said business-wise, it's all right. But then again, we can still sound good in our native tongues. Because you will hear a flavor song, which is not even in English, but you will still love it. You know, it goes beyond just trying to tap into these spaces. Now I think we even have digital strategies or try to play songs to enter different, kind of platforms and spaces. Yeah. But if artists from this side, like Nigeria, you have Fino. Fino he's a rapper. You'd not want to force Sarkodie to rap in English before he becomes the best in Africa. You have the Calligraph Jones doing Kiswahili and all those things, but then they are recognized around the world. So for me, it's all right, but then again, coming back, the prayer is always to find these artists, release bigger records after that. That is the fear. That is the sad part of it. And that's the truth, the hardest truth I can sit here and not lie about. That if we're able to channel energies into this thing, okay, find strategies to make it work and sound like Nigerians before we enter.
Please don't take me there. If you promise to never leave, stay with me to the morning breeze, baby.
Now, away from that, American singer R. Kelly on Wednesday was sentenced to 30 years in prison. This follows the conviction last year on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Prosecutors had asked the judge to sentence Kelly, 55, to more than 25 years behind bars, whilst her defense attorneys asked for 10 or fewer, saying prosecutors' request is tantamount to a life sentence. Survivors of R. Kelly's abuse held hands and prayed as U.S. District Court judge began reading his sentence. Robert Kelly faces further legal actions in August when he goes on trial again, in time in Chicago, on child sex images and obstruction of justice. He is also due to face sex abuse charges in court in Illinois and Minnesota. That's all on entertainment news. My name is Anayata Nobwache. Desi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Naya, for bringing us entertainment news. Up next, we do international news. Now, internet access has been cut in Sudan ahead of nationwide protests to press for civilian rule. And Internet Monitoring Organization NetBlocks reports that internet access was disrupted across the country at 8 a.m. local time, and the protesters have been using social media platforms to organize themselves. And according to the report, security forces had closed major bridges linking the capital Khartoum to the twin cities of Omdurman and Bari ahead of the protest. And a Sudanese Doctors Union says 103 people had been killed as a result of the crackdown against pro-democracy demonstrations prompted by last year's military coup. And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. We'll be back at 4 with News Flash and 7 p.m. with News Night. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good afternoon.